Hello, my friend. Stay a while and listen.
What's going on, guys? It's Filthy and I'm back with another video. Second time in like a couple of days. I finished streaming and there's a big announcement for Diablo, so we're going to go through it now. It's the D4 development update. We're going to talk about 3 things that I think are pretty awesome about this update. We're going to talk about maybe how we can improve them, give some feedback on the game, but it's not going to be a complete read through. I will link the blog post in the description, so if you want to go check it out, by all means you can do, but we're not going to go through it verbatim. We're just going to kind of give you a bit of a flavour of it. Obviously, if you're new around here, do hit the subscribe button. I do stream on Twitch as much as I can. PTR is going to be starting in a couple of days, so we'll be hammering it then, probably up until about midway through the season. So yeah, come say hi if you can. Now, the 3 things that I think are awesome, we're not going to do them in the order that they appear, but we're going to start off here with this skill tree. So this is looking an awful lot better, and it's definitely a step in the right direction. Now, the way this is going to work is obviously as your character levels, you're going to get skill points. Now, these square nodes here are skills, so when you unlock them, obviously you'll be able to put them on your bar and you'll be able to use them. These little circular ones here are like modifiers, so they will change how the skill works. The idea is you're going to work yourself along, you're going to unlock the skill, then unlock a modifier. Now, these little red nodes here are going to be passive points, and then you're gonna pop yourself down here to the root of the tree and spend your passives. Again, it looks like there's kind of big nodes and then the little nodes off. Now, as a concept, I think that's quite nice. I think it's quite cool. It's obviously separating out the skill tree and passive system, albeit it's all visually represented on the same thing. Now, this to me just looks like concept art. I don't think this is actually how the tree is functioning in the game, because, you know, realistically we've got the same thing here twice, haven't we? You know, we've got these same little circles here, so, you know, I wouldn't get overly hung up on the presentation. I mean, it looks really cool, obviously, doesn't it? You know, this does just look absolutely delicious, but the way hopefully it's going to work is that we're going to get a skill and then we're going to have branches off, so we're going to get to choose like this skill here, whether it's some kind of like lightning ability for, I don't know, maybe the sorceress. The idea is, what I'm hoping is that we're going to be able to go like maybe 2 or 3 ways, maybe even 4 or 5, so that we can really kind of drill down into the skill and decide how it's going to be managed. So I'm hoping that this will actually kind of expand off up here, this way, that way, and it will just be a lot better. But the idea that they've said is they want you to unlock probably about 30 or 40% of this. So presumably that'll mean, you know, you're pretty much going to have to make a fairly big choice on which kind of passive line you're going to go down. Again, 3 lines. It depends how much they kind of branch off. You know, obviously, again, like for human beings, the ideal choice number is 3. We tend to find it easy to make decisions, but you want lots of little subdivisions in there, you know, and maybe a way to branch over from one path onto another. So down here and then maybe along here. So again, connectivity, we'll have to kind of see how it is. Same for these skills, you know, can you branch off up here? But looking at the skills, there's about 30 of these square boxes. Again, as I say, it's probably just concept art, but it does look like you'll be able to pick a fair few skills. Again, we don't know how much the respec's going to be. That's obviously going to be a bit of an issue, because if you can unlock, say, a third of this and have it at any one time, and if it works like Diablo 3 where you can just respec and then just pick like this third here or this third here, that's probably not going to be super rewarding. So I do hope there is going to be some kind of cost to respecing. Hopefully not massively, but yeah, there should be some kind of cost to it. But overall, you know, it looks amazing. I think it is quite nice that you're going to do skill, then you're going to do kind of sub-skill into it. And as I say, provided we're branching off with enough things here, I think that'll be fine. You know, I mean, realistically, you want to get a skill, you then want to pick how you're going to use it. You know, is it going to be fire? Is it going to be ice? Is it going to be chaos? Is it going to do less damage but last longer? You know, those little kind of choices will be pretty good. And again, same for the passives. You know, these big ones will be impactful, and then there'll be little ones as well. So we'll have to sort of keep an eye on that. But as I say, definitely moving in the right direction, and definitely looks like an upgrade. So yeah, so I think that looks pretty good. Again, its overall size and connectivity I think will depend on the complexity, and yeah, maybe with a few more nodes connected and a bit more info, that could be pretty cool. Now, the second thing that I think is going to be pretty cool about this patch is actually going to be the sorceress enchantment system. So this sounds pretty interesting, actually. So each class in the game is going to get its own unique kind of I don't know, USP, its own kind of flavor to it. So the barb's got the arsenal system, so that basically gives us extra weapons and, you know, an extra legendary power, essentially, potentially. So barb's going to obviously do a lot of damage. And the way the sorcery is going to work is it's kind of like a rune / passive ability system. So you pick your 6 skills here, as per Diablo 3, which is fine, and you got these little circle things above, and you can put a skill into one of these little circles and it turns it into like a passive skill for you. So the idea is, and the example that they give down here in this footage is Meteor. So if you've got it on your bar here, like on right click, you just right click it, Meteor will come down and will smash the goat men. And look at that, look at the physics on that just looks quality. But if you shove it into one of these little circles, it turns it into a passive ability, and as you're fighting away, it just comes down and crunches, much like Bombardment would do for the Crusader at the moment. Now, that might sound a bit crappy initially because you're not going to control where your Meteor goes, but just remember, when it's in one of these slots here, you also, they say, you're not going to be able to put it on your bar. So if you had Meteor up here, you wouldn't have it on right click. So that basically means you potentially get 3 kind of passive skills working for you as a sorceress, but you still pick 6 other skills. So that might be difficult to balance, because obviously if you're going for a barb and you're getting like the extra weapon, an extra, maybe legendary power or affix, how's that going to balance between a sorceress having access to 3 whole extra kind of passive skills? So, one of them could be like a damage skill like this, where Meteor is raining down. Maybe one will turn out to be like an aura, something that heals you, and maybe something could be something that like crowd controls enemies, freezes or slows or whatever. So we'll just have to kind of see. Maybe they'll turn out like Storm Armor from Diablo 3, where again, it's just giving you a defensive buff, but that's kind of cool. What I like is obviously each class has got to feel different in the game. So obviously Barb's going to be, up close personal, smash stuff, really high damage. Sorcerer's going to be using elemental stuff. Druid's going to be shapeshifting. That's all really cool, but I do like the fact that each class is going to have its own kind of unique kind of little small advantage. So the barb is going to get the extra weapon. That's going to feel very different to the sorceress, who's going to have these passive effects. That's going to feel very different to the druid, and the druid will obviously get a little system like this as well. We don't know what it is, but obviously if each class, as well as it looking different, playing different, having different skills, different items, if they do all kind of have this extra little kind of sub role, that could be quite nice. And that's obviously a concept that could maybe be expanded in the future. So that, again, I think is pretty cool. Now the third and probably last and little thing I think is pretty good about this blog is we do have up here, they're basically pretty much going to bin the ancestral, demonic and angelic powers. Now obviously PoE and earlier Diablo games do have stats that gate things, so you might find a weapon or an item that you can't use unless you've got enough dexterity. So I don't necessarily think that stat limits on gear are necessarily a bad thing, but I think what they were kind of thinking here is we don't want people lumping around with loads of ancestral gear, demonic gear, angelic gear, and then you kind of swap it around depending on what it is that you need, and it does look like they're moving away from that. Now there's not too much else in terms of items here that, again, the concept seems to be they are aware of the balance between legendary items and, character power. And what they're kind of sort of saying is, look, we want the character, the skills, and the actual time invested with the character to be one of the main driving forces for power. So hopefully it's not going to be like Diablo 3 where, it's pretty much gear dependent, isn't it? You pick up that weapon with a 600% multiplier, stick it with another weapon with 600% multiplier, and you'd be leaving anybody playing just with their Paragon points in the dust. So I think that's good, but obviously it is a bit of a balance. You do want your legendary items to be interesting and impactful, but again, I think the fact that we're moving away from this and that we're saying, look, your character's going to feel your own, it's going to have its own individual power. I think, again, that's probably a pretty good thing. But yeah, more legendary items will be in the next blog, so that's pretty good. I'll get a bit more of an idea about that. And then right at the very bottom, it looks really exciting, endgame progression, but basically there's no info here. Again, it will be coming in the future. So as I say, this is moving in the right direction. I'm pretty happy with this. We've got a skill tree that looks good. If we can up the complexity a little bit on this, I think that would be even better. Again, as I say, maybe it's concept art, I don't know. Sorceress with all these kind of like passive abilities, that looks really cool, quite interesting. Again, would feel very different to other characters. And then, yeah, moving away from angelic and demonic power and that kind of stuff. So all in all, it's a very short and sweet update. We're all thirsty for content, Blizz. We just want more. Show us more of this game. We're all very excited, but all in all, short, sweet, but I think ultimately positive and moving in the right direction. So again, more information in the future, hopefully, and we'll see where we go. But what do you guys think? Do you think this is a good little update? Do you think that these things are moving in the right direction? Does it not look complex enough? You know, how do you feel about the passive system for the sorceress? Do you think it's going to be OP? Do you think it's going to be silly? You know, I'd say, let me know what you think. I'm quite happy, and you know, just gameplay, please. Come on, more gameplay. That's it, guys. Yeah, I'll be back soon. PTR starts in a couple of days. Can't wait for that. We're going to be crunching the videos out just as quick as we can. So do come by Twitch and say hello, and stay tuned for some more YouTube content. Take it easy, guys. Peace.